Welcome, welcome. My name is Reverend Casey Taylor. I use they, them pronouns. I am the senior minister here at the United Life Center for Spiritual Living, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to experience Action Chorus as our music today. So grateful. So I'd like to invite Ramona, the director, and Action Chorus up to the stage for our opening song.
All right, I hope y'all enjoy this. We're so glad to be back here today, and we got 1 of 5 coming up. Okay. I'll sing the first line, then join line 2. Okay. There are mean things happening in this land. There are mean things happening in this land. But the union's going on, and the union's growing strong. There are mean things happening in this land. They use their guns to intimidate, and they make us feel so small. But we have found community, and they can't stop us all. There are mean things happening in this land. There are mean things happening in this land. But the union's going on, and the union's growing strong. There are mean things happening in this land.
They're writing bills to keep us down and passing them into law. But we are stronger than they know, and we know who we are.
There are mean things happening in this land. There are mean things happening in this land. But the union's going on, and the union's growing strong. There are mean things happening in this land. They regulate our medicine, our lives they legislate. Together our songs will ring out much louder than the hate. There are mean things happening in this land. There are mean things happening in this land. But the union's going on, and the union's growing strong. There are mean things happening in this land.
Thank you so much, Action Chorus. All right. That was a perfect opening song for our weekly theme, which is the turbulence of love. And I feel like we're absolutely on the same page. That last week our theme was soaring in love, and I spoke about how I wasn't feeling that energy of soar. And this week, for the theme of turbulence of love, I've kind of got this flip-flop. I had a very turbulence in love last week, and this week I'm feeling really, really good. And in this feeling of really good, as I was reflecting on what does the turbulence of love mean for me, I was thinking about the turbulence of love in the way that it's occurring in this country today. So I'm incredibly grateful that you sang this song. I chose this piece. Tracy Rabbit is an indigenous designer. I have her journals and found this. And so as I was thinking about the experience of turbulence of love in this country, how indigenous cultures represent so many spiritual themes that help ground us in this understanding that there is love underneath it all, and we have the power to transcend. So I'm grateful that we are on that page. So for today, this is the flow of what to expect over the course of our time together. Many of you know we started with the sound bath. Joe Holcomb led us in the sound bath at 12:30. We just experienced that incredible opening song from Action Chorus. We will invite you to speak our vision and mission statement together. If something about our vision and mission does not resonate with you, please do not feel obligated to affirm this with us. And if you have thoughts, feelings, anything that you'd like to discuss, feel free to talk to me after. Happy to have these conversations. Then Action Chorus is going to lead us in a meditative experience with a song. Trey G will lead our meditation and prayer portion today. Special music, Action Chorus will perform another song, their third song. I will speak more about the turbulence of love and the way that I understand it. We'll do our conscious giving practice together, let you know about some announcements, things we have going on in this community, and then we will do our closing song. So that is the situation for today. And again, this is the part where I invite you to join me in speaking our vision and mission together if you feel so inspired. We are a loving, inclusive community, joyfully expressing spirit. We honor, celebrate, and support each individual's awakening to their spiritual magnificence. We empower each other to live happy, healthy, abundant lives.
Aho.
All right, aho. So, Action Chorus, I think we've got you going up and down. It's 5 songs in 1 hour. It's a whole lot of walking today. Beautiful.
I'm going to leave my sippy cup here. Okay, ready, folks?
Like the bird that pausing in her flight, the world
Pausing in her flight, the one almost to sight,
and
feels them give way beneath us, and see, knowing she hath wings.
Hi, I'm Trey.
Hi, Trey.
Turbulence of love, right? The meaning behind the turbulence of love, to me, is always in revealing deeper what love is. It's ups and downs so that we can learn to love more fully, understanding that our self is that love, that that's who we are, that never changes, right? And so, in honor of that, what I'd like to do for our meditation today is I'd like simply, we'll go into a little bit of breath, slow things down. I'm going to say a little prayer, and then I invite you to just feel the love in your heart. That's where we're always headed towards. That's what these turbulent times are for. It's to break that foundation of who we thought we are so that we can know who we truly are. And that is love. So, I invite you to just breathe in deeply through your how you feel comfortable. This is not about being any particular thing, but just being yourself. And we're finding ourselves in our breath. Take a few deep breaths and continue as you would like. God, I thank you for allowing us to gather today, source, creator, beloved piece of all of us. May we see the reflections clearly in one another. May each and every point of view that we come to see and come in contact with remind us of who we truly are in you. May we always remember that when we witness the other, we are beholding ourselves in you in every given moment, and that it shines the light into the parts of us that we are unaware of, so that we can love them more deeply. And by loving ourselves more deeply, we will always come to love the other more deeply, because there is no separation. That one is that I am. I am that I am, the divine mirror. Thank you for reflecting to me what I needed to see. As you breathe, allow your heart to be held from the inside. The great love that is the Creator, that is the source which we all come from. In turbulent times, to find ourselves in softness, allowing, welcoming, not pushing against. This is where we find peace. This is where we find acceptance. This is where we find love. Not in judgment, not in pushing against, not in fighting back, but in loving. We shall change the world by giving space for all to be who they are. We give space to ourselves first to be who we are. And in that space, we welcome all others. As you go through your day, I pray that when you see another and it reflects the pain inside yourself, take a moment to pause. Look inside. See the part of you that hurts. Tell that part, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. Thank you for protecting me. Allow my love to protect the other. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, Trey. That was beautiful. So grateful that you said yes to leading prayer and meditation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to turn on the lights after I put this mic back up here, and we will invite Action Chorus back up to the stage, to the metaphorical stage.
Offer them a chair.
Thanks, Casey.
We're gonna have a little more fun with this one. I mean, the last two were fun, but this is a little bit more of a introspective jam. All right. I encourage you to get lost in the rhythms, but if you can listen to the words, there's some poetry in there that I think rings true for everybody. I encourage encourage the singers to sing clearly with full tone and confidence. Pretty cool. Dum 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 dum.
I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you, and now I need you, and you I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember that I was.
Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. But all things that make you less will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I am blessed again and over again and again and again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes.
Yay, Action Chorus! I'm such a fan of y'all. And like for me, the coolest part is that like I didn't know what any of these songs were going to be today. And the fact that that song perfectly set me up for what's been resonating with me today and also just reflects what we teach. What we teach is that Spirit itself expresses as everyone and everything, that we have it's all about perspective. And that perspective itself is a choice. that we can look at the experience of heartbreak and let it shape us and shape our perspective, or we can identify and use those memories so that we can see beauty through our own eyes, to recognize that every single challenge, the turbulence of love itself, is inspired for us to deepen our own understanding of seeing love when it's hard. It's a whole lot easier to see love when it feels good, right? Like when we're floating and everything is going right in life, it's a whole lot easier to see the world through the eyes of love when you're enjoying it. But when we're experiencing challenges, it's super easy to experience and see the challenges in the world that we live in. So, as I said, I've lived this week in particular has been soaring in love, which was the theme from last week. Last week was very turbulent. So for me to really lean into the theme last week and then be energetically on the opposite thing the following week, I've never actually experienced that before. And it's nice, because honestly, like, turbulence of love, I was not trying to experience turbulence of love this week, so I'm grateful that it did not manifest itself in my life in that way. And so literally last night, as I was falling asleep, I said to my wife, "Did you have the best day ever?" And she reflected on her day, and she was like, "Yeah, I really did." And we talked about the things that we did yesterday, and she's like, "I bet you did too." And I was like, "Yep, I sure did." So it was really nice, like, go to sleep really reflecting on how the day, and it's the kind of day that could have easily been perceived as ordinary. We went to the farmer's market at like 10 a.m. And to me, we went to 2 farmer's markets. And starting as Saturday, buying vegetables from local vendors. And I grew up in Chicago, where going to the farmer's market was such an ordeal that finding a parking space, of how long it takes to walk to the farmer's market from wherever parking space you ever came from. So I had this and I told my wife this, I was like, I have this fantasy of spending Saturday mornings in farmer's markets, and there's a beautiful breeze and everything. Like, it was just a really gorgeous day yesterday, and I had a lot of fun just hanging out with family and enjoying Oklahoma City. So it invited me to revisit this concept. I'm super well known for the concept of living each day as the best day ever. If you've ever been into my office, best day ever is painted across the wall behind me. And that concept started from my ex-wife. So when I was introduced to living from this concept, and it supported me and served me in all kinds of ways, when that marriage ended in I would say July, the 4th of July of 2021 is when I arrived here. I drove away on the 2nd or 3rd of July or something. I think it was the 3rd of 2nd, because I did a 2-day trip from Los Angeles to Oklahoma. So when I left that marriage and drove to Oklahoma, I did not want to dishonor this marriage by talking about how I was living the best day ever when I got to Oklahoma. It felt really disrespectful to be like, here I am in Oklahoma living the best day ever, and I just left this woman 2 days ago. So I was very intentional about respecting the heartbreak that comes along with a separation like that. And despite the fact that because I live each day as the best day ever, I wasn't holding on to what happened on July 2nd when I drove away from the curb. In fact, we prayed together, and I thought that was an incredibly beautiful way to end a marriage, for us to pray as I move along on my journey, and it felt like this super clean separation. And that's how I moved about it. But the world, my world, perceived and responded to it very differently. My family still has a lot of heartbreak over this marriage that they were not in, but but she was connected to them, and honestly, through that experience of that conscious uncoupling experience, I really recognized how a big draw was how she helped me fit into my own family. So the moment that we split, I got an opportunity to remember what life was like 12 years before we got together when I didn't feel like I fit into my own family. She helped me fit into my own family. So my family was not ready. They're not ready to let her go. They are consistent presence in her life. And so this concept of living each day as the best day ever shifted for me. I still lived it, I still practiced it, but I wasn't as loud about it on social media or publicly. And then on top of that, very shortly when I got to Oklahoma and I met somebody new, I wasn't trying to be like, hey, let's use this quality that me and my ex-wife used to live from. You know, again, like honoring and respecting the relationship. So still lived consciously from this understanding, but it wasn't as much in the forefront in my life. And lately, it's been 4 years since I've been in Oklahoma, 4 years since I've been in this new relationship. Well, it's not new anymore, it's 4 years old. And this concept of living each day as the best day ever has shined through. And the way that it serves me and supports me most is recognizing the value of living the best day ever when things are really, really hard. And what that has looked like for me is spending time and reflecting of, okay, this day was really hard, but what moments of gratitude do I have from it? What big lessons were learned? How did I respond differently to these challenges than I did before? That really helped shape my way of understanding and my decision to live each day as the best day ever. So, our content this month was put together by Reverend Daryl Jones out of Chicago. Cityside Center for Spiritual Living is where Daryl Jones is based off of. And he wrote, so often we don't want to change our minds and our hearts, yet we still expect drastic changes in our lives and relationships. So when I arrived with my best day ever energy in Oklahoma City, there was more to do. There were more drastic changes that were needed, that this concept of living each day as the best day ever sometimes made days feel like the best day ever, sometimes that they didn't. But in regards of the shifts that needed to take place for me, let's say that the lessons that I didn't learn from that last marriage, I got an opportunity to have a new relationship and for those experiences to amplify themselves, spotlight themselves in other ways. And that's really what relationships do, right? That one of the I think it was Trey's meditation where he talked about this experience of how we are all mirrors of one another. And Sandy talked about this before we started our sound bath today of how her son's friends are mirrors of him. That every experience, every person in our lives, every moment of turbulence is a mirror. It is an opportunity to see something that maybe we didn't see before, and now it's magnified. I often speak of the way that spirit, our inner wisdom communicates to us is through a still small voice. That's what the Bible calls it, right? Is a still small voice. And eventually, when you don't hear that voice, when it's still and when it's small, it gets louder. It manifests in other ways. The people around you are reflections of what needs to be known. And eventually, you keep not ignoring or not hearing what it is that life itself is trying to communicate to you, that still small voice turns into a spiritual 2x4 that knocks you in the forehead and lays you flat. And it could look like anything, anyone, in any way, but there is something that needs to be known that knocks you all the way down. So in my experience, in my life, living each day as the best day ever has supported me. However, I get to recognize that when experiences in my life are manifesting in a way that I don't like, what's important is to recognize that these drastic changes are things that I have to make. That it's not about the people out there. They are reflecting what it is that I need to see, what it is that I need to know. So if I'm not paying attention to it, my life is going to show me what I need to know bigger and louder. Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. That when experiences in our lives are not looking the way that we want to look at, what we do here, what we teach here, the whole concept of the science of mind is this concept of recognizing that we are participating, that we are co-creating the life that we are living right now. So what we do, we're starting a spiritual economics class super soon. And the purpose of that spiritual economics class is for us to have a moment, have dedicated time for us to sit down together and really think about, what are my beliefs around money? In what ways does my relationship to money support me? And what ways does it not? What is happening within my own belief system that has money experiencing and showing up in my life in this way? All of our classes are designed for you to look at your belief systems, to look at your experience of life and have that community space to review, to ask yourself these questions, to have assignments designed to support you in those things, and become the person that you want to become. So for me, taking the classes and becoming a minister, I wasn't going to ministerial school so that I can get the answer right and get an A in my spiritual economics class. That was not my intention. I took these classes because my relationship to money wasn't working for me. I took these classes because what started with me is I wanted to work in television. I wanted to become a television writer or television executive. And every class that I took brought me closer to my dreams. I was identifying what beliefs I had that were getting in my own way. So being a part of spiritual community, empowering each other to live happy, healthy, abundant lives is what's helped me, supported me in living a happy, healthy, abundant life. So I'm grateful that I get to create space and community where we are all engaging in these practices together. Reverend Darrell also said, imagine how life might feel if we approach listening as an opportunity to love and understand deeply. How could this shift transform our relationships and enrich our experiences? How many of you, when you're having a conversation with somebody, that you're thinking about what you're going to say back to them while they're talking? Does that ever happen? Are you familiar with that experience of thinking about what you're going to say? For me, the Centers for Spiritual Living was the invitation that I had to notice that habit. At that point in my life, this is what I mean about the challenges in my life being spotlighted. And I've been talking about this for a few weeks because I've been learning this lesson for a few weeks. This experience of being on the wings of love has made it that I need to look at this. And this quality for me is self-righteousness, which I've learned is super common in ministers. And I get it, what drives us to ministry to begin with is to want to know and know the answer. So it's like, all right, I've done this deep dive into spirituality. I've come to an understanding of spirit that makes sense for me, and I'm standing up in front of people and talking about it. And so because I work so hard to get these answers, I think they're right. And what I have learned is that this relationship, this whole self-righteousness of all of the qualities that I've been releasing. I've mentioned that when I first found the Centers for Spiritual Living back in 2008, self-righteousness was a thing I was all over releasing. And it's been 10, 15 years since I've released this quality. And it's been there. I'm sure it's been there. However, it was manifesting in big, wild ways back when I first found this teaching, this community, was when it was big and in my face. But then, once I released it, it was something that wasn't as much of an issue, but it was kind of underlined, sitting in the background. And now that I'm in this position that I'm in, I'm finding that it's gotten a whole lot louder and a whole lot bigger. And so this month has been this opportunity for me to recognize that listening is what I'm here to do. Yes, I may have a microphone on Sundays, but the other 6 days a week, I need to be quiet and listen. So I've found that there are two big qualities that have come out of listening to other people. One is mindfulness, that if I'm thinking about the thing that I'm going to say, and I think the thing that I say is so important that it needs to be said, that I got to hold on to it in my mind and repeat it so that whenever this person is done talking, that I can share it. That if I'm practicing mindfulness, I'm not doing that. I know and trust that when it is time to talk, either I will remember the thing, the thought that came up in my mind at the time, or I won't. And whatever it is that I say in response to whatever I'm listening to is the right and perfect thing. So I have found that it not only helps me practice mindfulness, but it also helps me trust my intuition of knowing that I don't have to repeat over in my head again and again, let me make sure I say this and say it this way and craft it. That I'm trusting my intuition to say the right thing in the right moment. And so that experience of practicing mindfulness, it allows me to be present. It allows me to hear what people are saying. And people enjoy my company a whole lot more when I've actually listened to what they had to say than whether the thing I said was so wise and so smart that because I held on to it and said it in the right perfect way. My intuition knows what it's doing a whole lot more than my conscious mind thinks it knows. So learning this habit of staying present, of listening, transforms the community around me. That we are all in this room, in this moment, as a result of me learning how to listen. Because if we hadn't, this room would be looking very different. We may not even be in the space. So I'm grateful to be learning these lessons and putting them into practice. Our book of the month is from Thich Nhat Hanh. It's called Teachings of Love. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, beginning anew is to change your mind and heart, to transform the ignorance that brought about wrong actions of body, speech, and mind, and to help you cultivate your mind of love. Your shame and guilt will disappear, and you will begin to experience the joy of being alive. This is what it means to live each day as the best day ever. It's to start with a beginner's mind. I've been thinking a lot about whether I was going to talk about this or not, and what I decided I was going to do was stay present and let my intuition guide me, and it has brought me to this moment where I'm going to share what's been on my mind, heart and mind. This has been the closest thing to turbulence of love for me this week. I've been talking for the last few weeks about how the organization, we are a Center for Spiritual Living, and the Centers for Spiritual Living is a global organization. There are Centers for Spiritual Living all over the world that use that blue starburst logo that you'll see when we have our closing slide. They all have that logo and Centers for Spiritual Living in their name. And I've had a very rocky relationship with the organization of the Centers for Spiritual Living from day one in some way. And a big part of it, I've come to understand, have to do with the teachers that I had. The teachers that I had a contentious relationship with the organization. So the people who are educating me on the ways to navigate and move through the organization have a contentious relationship, it would make sense that I would inherit some of those things. So in that experience of contention, I've been conscious of it. I've been doing a whole lot of prayer work. I've actually been talking about it for years at the United Life Center for Spiritual Living, of these moments of conflict and contention that come about. And my most recent saga comes from the decision of the Ministers' Council to defer my ordination for a year. I've been a minister in this organization for about 8 years now, but the way that our paperwork is I only had 3 years worth of paperwork that were turned in. So it's 5 years of things that were unaccounted for. And I've been engaging in all of these conversations with the Ministers' Council of the year and of the path forward. And this week, I met with my mentor, the person from the Ministers' Council who was assigned to be my mentor to support me through the course of the next year or the path to ordination. And that morning, before I met with her, I went to a yoga class where the theme was about beginning anew. It's about having a beginner's mind. So I walked into the Zoom meeting with my new mentor, and my mentor made a recommendation that I'd heard before. Many people have made, actually it's common among ministers, and I'll tell you what it is. The recommendation was to keep a spreadsheet of the amount of donations that are given on a Sunday and a spreadsheet of the attendees. And because I was on my beginner's mindset, I was like, all right, like I've heard this, I've done this. It is a divine appointment for me to be introduced to keeping this data. And I heard it. This is my beginner's mindset. I'm gonna put this data together. So I put the spreadsheet together and noticed how it made me feel. Because as a community, I love that you all are here, and I love what we're doing on Sundays. But we're not just Sundays. Last week in particular, not only did we come together and participate in a spiritually uncuffed experience, but the bylaws team came together and had a conversation about putting the bylaws together. The Witch Fest team came together and talked about that event. The drag show committee came together. So, I was engaged in spiritual community in all of these contexts and had these questions of, do these people not count? Does this context not count? Is what we're tracking on Sunday, this data, the only data that matters? And also, I have such a visceral kind of reaction to quantifying spirituality, of saying that what counts as spiritual community, what counts as success in our spiritual community is how much money came in on a Sunday, is how many people showed up. It was feeling archaic, and I was feeling like, do I even want to move through this ordination process as I am being invited to do these kinds of things that don't feel in alignment with what we teach? The Science of Mind says nothing about tracking data of how many people showed up on a Sunday and how much money came in on that Sunday. And it also denies all the other things, the donations that come in other ways, the ways that we generate income outside of Sunday contribution. So it just was making me feel so icky. And I went through this visioning practice where the question was, what needs to be released for this experience to manifest? And what came up for me was letting go of this whole ordination thing, like letting the organization do what it does, stand in my truth, and let that be what it is. Forget about it. Move on with your life. So that was like Wednesday or Thursday that I did this visioning practice, but here I am still talk to y'all about it on Sunday afternoon. So it's still living in my consciousness, this experience of shame and guilt that I have around what is the right thing. And what has brought me peace is knowing that the next meeting I have set with my mentor is in October. So I have lots of time to feel my feelings around this, to let them do what they do, to share my experience with the community. If this is what I'm experiencing, this is how I'm feeling. And to know and trust that regardless of what I decide, regardless of what the ministerial council decides about the decisions that I'm making around how I choose to move forward in this process and in this experience, that Spirit is behind all of it. The discord occurring in me is a spiritual experience. The ways I'm challenging the minister council is a spiritual experience. And regardless of the outcome, I'm not attached to it. It's not important. I didn't choose to become a minister so that this organization can give me a special title and a certificate and say, we don't ever expect you to turn in any paperwork ever again. That was actually what inspired my ordination. Is there's some teams that I cannot serve on unless I have this certificate, and there's no expectation of me to turn in any other paperwork once I'm ordained. And that's the idea behind it. But I'm sure there's more to it. And chances are the reason my ordination was deferred is because I don't have this is what it means to me to be ordained. And so I have this invitation to sit in the question, what does ordination mean to me? To develop a loving, healing relationship with the organization that I serve, that I pay my ministerial dues for and represent, that we are this community. What I do full time in my life is cultivating this spiritual community. So I get to recognize that this organization serves as a mirror that this experience of turbulence of love that is showing up in my life is a mirror. And regardless of the fact that I've got this is the wisdom that I have derived from the experience. I'm still in the turbulent nature of the rocky relationship. But I get to recognize it for what it is, and I don't have to sit in my room and cry about it or focus on the shame and guilt around it. I can be transparent. I can be vulnerable. I can express how I'm feeling with this community and know that I'm being supported as I move through the experience. So I am grateful that as a community, who we are, what we do, how we show up, is to empower each other to live happy, healthy, abundant lives, however that looks like for us individually. And what I would love to do now is know this for each other in prayer. Just to give you a quick rundown of where prayer works in our organization, is there is a 5-step process that's used as a tool. We don't say if you don't use these 5 steps, your prayer doesn't work. Mm-hmm. It's a guide for people who may have grown up with a specific idea of prayer that maybe may not resonate with them, or people who have never prayed before. That was my situation. I was not much of a prayer. So these 5 steps really helped give me a sense of direction, of a formula, so to speak. And the 5 steps are: God is all there is. God, energy is another word for God. Energy is all there is, because energy is all there is. 2nd step is we are that. 3rd step is an affirmation. 4th step is gratitude. And 5th is releasing, trusting Spirit to do what it does. So I invite you to join me in prayer by taking a moment to get comfortable in your seat, settling into your body and your breath, and recognizing that the breath itself is sacred. The fact that each one of us are in here, breathing, being, showing up, whether in person or online, that we are the right people to be in spiritual community together. And I am so grateful that we have chosen to spend our day, to spend this hour together in this way, to receive whatever it is that needed to be known, to shift whatever it is that needs to be shifted, to recognize that everybody is a mirror of our consciousness, and to identify what that means for us, what is ours to do, whether it is practicing mindfulness and listening when we're having conversation with other people, whether it is being vulnerable and sharing what we're experiencing, to knowing and trusting that each one of us is engaged in this sacred journey together. And I'm so grateful for all that manifests in our individual lives because we have shown up. I'm grateful for the shift that we create within our own communities because of who we are. And I'm grateful to trust and know that our own understanding of love, of light, of energy, of truth is leading the path forward, that our intuition always knows what's up. And in this place of gratitude, I release this word into the law, letting Spirit do what it does with it, as I invite us to affirm this prayer however you are most comfortable in closing prayer. I choose to close by saying, and so it is. All right. So this is that conscious giving I'm talking about. And I will be keeping the spreadsheet. I'm going to keep doing it until this meeting comes, and I'm going to feel my feelings around it. And maybe it'll shift. Maybe it'll change. Maybe the information will create some clarity. Having a beginner's mind is important for me to maintain as I move through this process of keeping this data. So if you are feeling inspired to contribute to our organization, you may do so by putting anything you'd like in the plates. It could be energy, it could be money, it could be love, whatever it is that you'd like to share. We ask you to pour that into the plate. And if you're an electronic kind of giver, we've got this QR code here that you can scan. That'll, once you set up, you'll be in our system, and it'll be super easy. And same with this give to text option. When you text, say you text the number 10 to this phone number here, you'll set up some system one time, and the next time that you hit 10 and the phone number, it'll know who you are. That'll be the situation. So as Mary Lee goes around with our conscious giving plates, I invite you to speak our affirmation with me. And this is just like the other affirmation. This doesn't resonate with you, feel free not to say it, and feel free to come talk to me afterwards. So, our affirmation is, I live in abundance. I am filled with abundance. I give from abundance, and it transforms my life. All right. So, we've got a couple more songs from Action Chorus. Invite them back up.
Bend the arc and break the ceiling.
Bend the arc and break the ceiling.
Human rights for human beings.
Human rights for human beings.
Bend the arc and break the ceiling.
Bend the arc and break the ceiling.
Human rights for human beings.
Human rights for human beings. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc.
Hold out your hand and help another.
Hold out your hand and help another.
We were meant to help each other.
We were meant to help each other.
Hold out your hand and help another.
Hold out your hand and help another.
We were meant to help each other.
We were meant to help each other. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc.
Turn around and greet your neighbor.
Turn around and greet your neighbor.
We were meant to share the labor.
We were meant to share the labor.
Turn around and greet your neighbor.
Turn around and greet your neighbor.
We were meant to share the labor.
We were meant to share the labor. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc.
Free the people, free the planet.
Free the people, free the planet.
No more prisons, we won't stand it.
No more prisons, we won't stand it.
Free the people, free the planet.
Free the people, free the planet.
No more prisons, we won't stand it.
No more prisons, we won't stand it. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc. Bend the arc, bend the arc.
People sing and people dancing.
People sing and people dancing.
Revolution is commencing.
Revolution is commencing.
People sing and people dancing.
People sing and people dancing.
Revolution is commencing.
Revolution is commencing. Bend the arc, bend the arc. 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 Bend the
Basil's hearing everything. So, Basil's hearing everything. So, if you don't get any of this information and you're like, how can I support Basil? Talk to Basil. Basil is asking for support. His mother passed away, and I'm so grateful that he made it to church, like right back in town, and came straight here. So we are doing the best that we can. Communities coming together to support Basil with this transition. Basil, do you happen to have a total of how much you need right now off the top of your head? If you don't, no shade, because
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can come up with a number.
Don't even worry about it. I just wanted to ask. So these are ways through Venmo, Basil G. Alexander, Cash App, The Plants Basil, PayPal, Rubber Duck Man, or Basil Alexander at gmail.com. So way you can support Basil in his experience as he gets a new place to live. What's Up and Why? My cousin and I host this show on Thursdays at noon on the New Thought Media Network. It's streaming on all kinds of platforms, Facebook, YouTube, on my Facebook page. But What's Up and Why is what it's called on all things. And our vegan potluck is coming up on Sunday, September 7th. That's 2 weeks from now. We are asking if you are not comfortable or don't know how to prepare a vegan dish, that you just label it as non-vegan, because what Bend in the Arc looks like for us is that we are encouraging people of all walks of life to come together and break bread, and we definitely want our vegans to feel welcome here. So this is an opportunity for us to support the vegans in our community, especially as a vegan. I choose not to eat meat products and eat dairy just because I feel like the way that our agriculture system is set up doesn't honor the animal. If we were throwing away meat all the time and not thinking about it, and there's what I've learned since I've become a vegan is there's milk in everything. For what? Why are we doing this to our cows? So this is our way to support people who choose to be vegans, but also for people who don't, you are welcome as well. Bring whatever it is that makes you most comfortable. Just please make sure that you label it as non-vegan so that the vegans know not to eat it. Spiritual economics. This is a class that I mentioned here. There's a QR code if you'd like to register. So the way that we're kind of doing this class differently. First of all, it's virtual, so you can join from wherever you are. But Tasha Salinas is somebody who just who walked in our community full throttle. And just like Trey, she's somebody who knows, who understands what it is that we teach, just like Action Chorus understands what we teach. We didn't have to sit anybody down in a class and say, hey, this is what we believe. That there have been people who've been stepping into this community who already operate from these beliefs. And because Tasha has been so much serving in a position of leadership, I saw her as teaching this class as having two benefits. One, because she's serving in a position of leadership, for her to do this work of spiritual economics from a leadership perspective is better for everyone. It's better for her spiritual economics and better for the spiritual economics of this organization. And secondly, gives her an opportunity to fully submerge herself in what it is that we teach. What better way to learn is by teaching. So the Centers for Spiritual Living does require that a certificated practitioner or minister are who teaches these classes. So the way that I'm seeing it is Tasha is the most glorified teaching assistant ever, where I'm going to be there, I'm reviewing everything that she's doing, I will be in every class, but really trusting and empowering her to lead. So this class just starts in a couple weeks, and you can register right over there. Most of everything we do has a pay what you can option. For this one in particular, Centers for Spiritual Living requires that we have a registration fee of $45 for everybody that takes a class. That's the licensing fee that comes with the curriculum. So because everything is pay what you can, but they have this required fee. This class has a minimum of $50 for registration, but it is $50 for 8 weeks, and it's spiritual economics. So it really supports whatever that $50 is coming back to you from the process and the experience of taking this class. And we will give you your money back. If you do the 8 weeks and you're like, nah, I want my $50 back, we'll give it to you. No one's gonna fight you over that. The whole intention is to support you and your relationship to finances. And if in 8 weeks of this class, that you don't feel it and you want your money back, we will give it back, no questions asked. No cash back guarantee. So, Centers for Spiritual Living, actually, I'm going to shout out, as I feel like I kind of trash talk the Ministers Council. So let me shout out the head of the Ministers Council, who is in charge of spearheading this concept. The Centers for Spiritual Living has a day of service set for the second Sunday in September that she's really been working to revive, that she's been, as a spiritual organization, having one dedicated day of service is not too much to expect. And so she recognized the necessity and the value of us really leaning into the fact that we are a service organization. So right now, we don't have this is a thing that you can do to be of service for your community. We want to help get the word out to say that on this day, September 13th, that we are empowering community members to give back to your community in any kind of way, however that looks like for you. One of the things that we're thinking about is how we can be supportive to Basil. FYI, Basil, that's what we're thinking about. So if there's something we can do as a community on September 13th to help support your move to wherever you go, please let us know. And if there's anybody in the community that's like, you know what, there's this thing happening on September 13th, or, you know, whatever it is, if any of you have ideas of what we can do together as a community to participate in service on this day, please let us know. But if you are not participating with us, we invite you to give back on this day, however that looks for you. All right, Witch Fest. Witch Fest is coming up on October 18th, and vendor spaces are already filled. They're like overfilled. I'm having to turn people away at this point. And there's a lot of excitement in the community about this in a way that I was not prepared for and did not anticipate. I think there's a lot of witches in Oklahoma City that have been looking for a community and haven't had it. And so people are like, what is this? When's it going to be? How do I get tickets? And so we may very well have this be a tickets only. And like I said, everything we do is pay what you can. So right now, tickets for this online are $5, but there's a pay what you can option. So if you don't have $5 and you want to come, feel free to register with whatever amount that you are comfortable with. And, you know, pay what you can is pay what you can. But we'll have vendors in this space. There'll be workshops happening in the conference rooms that we have, and it's just we're doing an ancestor veneration. So if you have ancestors that you'd like us to honor, you can send us pictures. witchfest@unitedlife.org. So all of the information is available on our website and also at Witchfest OKC. I should probably put a QR code up here. Do that next time. Keep that in mind. All right, I think that is my last announcement for the day. So we're going to invite Action Chorus up to sing their final song.
So one of our singers, Steven's going to be playing guitar on this one. This one's called Ang Masa, and it was written in solidarity with the Filipino people and the resistance against United States imperialism. But it's not just for them, it's for everybody in the world who's oppressed under capitalism and imperialism and fighting for their freedoms. So I hope you enjoy it. Oh, the first verse, we're going to sing it first in Tagalog, and then we're going to sing it again in English. So. Ang masalamat, ang tunay na bayani, ang masalamat, ang kapagapagita. Ang masalamat, ang kapagapagita. Ang masa, tagapagdikan kasaysayan. Sundin ang pagpapagat, aliyang pagmasa. Mula sa masa, tungo sa masa, ito ang ating pagluhay. Sundin ang pagpapagat, aliyang pagmasa. Mula sa masa, tungo sa masa, story. The masses, only the masses, can create a better world. The masses, only the masses, can create a better world. The masses, oh the masses, are the makers of history. Together follow and uphold, we follow the mass life. From the masses to the masses, this is our guide. Together follow and uphold, we follow the mass life. From the masses to the masses, this is our guide. Dare to struggle, dare to win, face together all oppression. We will learn to help each other on our way to victory. Dare to struggle, dare to win, till we free our planet Earth. We will grow and make in number, and will crush our enemies. Imperially smoke, eat, fuck, suck. Thank you so much. And that one means the masses. So it's about y'all. Thanks.
Yes. So grateful to Action Chorus for being here today. We have a guest book over there. So if you are not on our mailing list, that is a perfect time to get on it and learn about how to get Witchfest tickets and the like. And also we have bookmarks that discuss the 5 steps of prayer that I mentioned, a What We Believe postcard if you're curious about who we are and what we're about. So that's what we got going on. And I invite you all to have the best week ever.
Thanks, Casey.
We can. Drag show's October 11th. Mark your calendars. Thank you, Trey.
Nina commented on the Facebook Live.